Yo.
What's up, you guys? Welcome to Hit Confirm. I am Casey, joined along here by my bro Coach.
Hey, how y'all doing?
And today we kind of missed you guys last week. We kind of skipped the week. You
Uh,
know,
There's a lot going on, man.
yeah. So it's understandable.
Yeah, some of
But
us
yeah,
out there in that remake vortex. Let's not gloss over it.
yeah, that was that played a big, very big role. So yeah, I had to get in that, shut off everything in life. I was listening to Li Joe talk the other day. He was like, "Man, I hope I don't die before this game comes out because if I do, I'm gonna be pissed." I was like, "Wow."
Oh man, yeah, yeah. I actually seen a little bit of his social media. And he was definitely looking forward to it. So glad he got to enjoy that.
Yeah, I was in. He finally had the talk of the spoiler talk last night, so I joined in for the chat for that to hear what he had to say. So
That's what's up. And yeah, we're not gonna hit y'all with any spoilers, so y'all good. Oh man, so man, what's on your mind?
so was I really very something that I guess we don't really talk about often in FGC, and I guess it doesn't really need to be talked about because it's a person to person thing. So it's a silly banter when it comes to fighting games. When it comes to sort of like characters or video or a certain fighting game in general. Like so, for instance, for us who are friends already know each other, we can sarcastically, in bounce jokes off each other with different like characters. Say for instance, our joke in the stream for our Discord here in Georgia is Vasaraga is cheap. He's broken
Yeah,
because Fame's performance with him. So we've all been saying, "Oh, this character is very strong. He's too strong. He needs to be nerfed and all that stuff." But and then I think about that. What I think about often is how certain people perceive that sometimes who are not inside the joke. Because definitely, like, it goes to Twitter sometimes, and this is outside of our Discord at this point. It's whenever you see like any character or game, people would talk, have silly banter with it. Of course, they're not being serious, but that can come off a little wrong to some people who are maybe new, or it might discourage people. So I always thought that was pretty. That always went under the radar. How do you feel about that?
Um, that is something I thought about a lot, and like even outside of the realm of joking, like even you take people who are serious, if they're like maybe in a moment having a specific emotional reaction, or they're operating off of a, I'll say lack of information, or maybe they have information and they're just saying stuff in a weird way. But yeah, when you look at it from the outside, you can get all kinds of impressions, and I feel like that's something somewhat unique to the fighting game community because like when we use the word cheap, broken, and stuff like so casually, right? But
Mm-hmm.
in any other genre, something is actually cheap or broken. The devs like, they're rolling over themselves to fix it. And people don't enjoy that. But we use it casually, even when it's not appropriate. So people might look at it like broken. So they just put whatever they want in their games. They have characters
Yeah.
that are that cheap and can't be beaten. And then when you actually know you're in the know, you realize that they're just saying, yeah, this character is actually kind of strong, has good options, and it's very rarely, you're just saying like, this character actually has no counterplay. But from the outside looking in, I wonder if they get that nuance.
Yeah, it's very hard until you play the game, and like I said, it takes up it's person to person because at that point is they have to be willing to like be like, okay, screw whether it's strong or weak. I just want to see for myself because I'm legit interested in the game, and generally that's what it should come down to, right?
Yeah, like you said, it kind of depends on the person. But like from my point of view, yeah, like I'll turn the game on and I'll see something for myself. But I know a lot of people like they like the opinions of people they trust or people they see in the spotlight before they like to dip their toe in the water.
Yeah, I've had my gripes with that where a top player will say something that's that ends up being the general perception of a character or maybe or a game, and other people follow that, and you start to see a line of tweets on Twitter, and you're like, well, it's shouldn't be that way, but you can't really tell. You can't really go on somebody's Twitter randomly and tell them no, right? It's
I mean,
like,
isn't that exactly what happens on Twitter?
yeah, that's true. And we've definitely seen people do that before. But it's just really weird. It's a really weird thing because, like I said, it does have it when it happens. You have to end up, being introspective and be like, oh, okay, do I really want to take the time to see for myself why this is strong? Some people they are weak, or some people they get that's their motivator, right? They're like, whoa, this is really strong. Well, I want to pick this game up because this character is very strong, and I want to see how strong this character is. And but for the most part, to me, it seems that it discourages some people.
Yeah, like whether you let's say like you're new to fighting games, right? You bought Grand Blue. That's a perfect example of this actually, because it's a game that has franchise that people who maybe never even touched a fighting game are familiar with, right? Something similar
Yeah,
like DBFZ. So you're looking on there, and your friends say, hey, follow X, Y, and Z accounts. These people are really good at the game, and they're they're relevant. They post videos and stuff, and then you go on there, and they're like, you know, who like Beelzebub, man, that guy's whack. He has no options. And you're like, you love that dude in the phone game. And he's like, oh, maybe I don't want to play this. When you see people just kind of exaggerating problems, and sometimes the problems are more, I guess, grounded. But like a lot of people, they exist off of hyperbole, and they'll
yeah,
express simple things as like the end of the world. And so when you see that from the outside, it's like, man, yeah, I really wanted to get invested in this, but is it really worth my time? Because there's so many things out there, so many more fighting games, many more video games, so many more hobbies. And so when you see people who actively participate in something, kind of downing it so hard, or expressing such frustrations, whether they're hyperbole or not, you start to as an average person, I can understand why you start to second guess because it's like, time's limited, right?
yeah. And let's not get this twisted. We both probably would agree with this. Where it's at the end of the day, it's just games, right? Like you can only go so serious with it.
Yeah.
You can't But at the same time, when you're a person joining the FGC, which is like mostly competitive, you expect to see, I would say, more of that competitiveness side of it, and
Yeah.
it is you will hope it rubs off in a certain way where it helps you out because generally sometimes I would see people they'll get into a game and they'll see a character doing or they'll hear that a player or a player will say, hey, this character's not doing is not that good, yada yada yada, and then the person who they'll watch a tournament or a stream and they're like, wait, this character, I thought this character wasn't good. What's going on? And that's when the confusion happens, and you're like, wait. And people start going in even more with the like silly banters and everything like that. And it's like, wait, I'm so confused. Like, is this character good or not?
Yeah.
And I see the frustration on people when that happens.
Like the fact that you said that, like they're in a random stream, like I've seen people go into a Discord, and it's happened in our Georgia Discord too, where someone's like, "Oh, I just picked up this game," and like they may know fighting games already, right? But they're picking up a game that's unfamiliar to them, and it'll be like, "Yeah, I just picked this character, and I picked up their B&Bs, but I can't quite figure out how to deal with this." And then they get a bunch of meme responses and jokes where they were serious, and I see that all the time, and it makes me roll my eyes because it's like, you know, when that person turns around and says that nobody helped them or the community was dumb or whatever, y'all gonna roll your eyes and act like it wasn't true.
Hmm.
In the
Yeah.
meantime, but you got to realize that not everyone else is in the joke, and they legitimately want to know what's going on because they want to play, improve, and be involved in it.
Yep. That's exactly what it is. So yeah, it's yeah, I guess people don't know when to turn it off.
Yeah,
That's what it
yeah.
seems like.
You have I think I think it's just kind of the nature when you gather a bunch of people, the people who are legitimately trying to go out of their way to help, or are generally few. And then you have a bunch of people who will help when they can. Then you have the average people who just kind of look on, maybe throw their advice in there once in a while if they see the train going. And then you got a bunch of people who, I guess, who kind of are neutral, don't care. And then you got your few people who actively mislead and misguide people.
Yeah. Yes, because in Guilty Gear, it's when I was playing Eno, nobody in Georgia was like really touching her at the time. So I wanted to like make sure I didn't like over like state the character or under like state the character in terms of like how good the character was. I wanted to keep it at a certain level. So whenever somebody came up to me and asked me any questions about like learning, I made sure like, I was straight to the point, didn't joke around. Told them, look, this character has this issue, but she's like fine with this. It's pretty cool. Try it out. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask me more. Simple as that.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
simple.
It,
I don't know
it
why that's so hard for some people, but yeah.
some people it's got a joking nature, and that's fine. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that as long as you know, as long as everyone's in the know. And then there's people who they pick up on a lot of things, but they don't necessarily realize it on a conscious level or have a way to explain it. They just know how to do it, right? Because
Yeah.
there's a lot of cases like that in just life in general. People know how to do things, but they don't know how to explain what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so stuff like that happens. And then there's the people who it's like, yeah, like they think, I don't want to say with their emotions, but it will dictate how much they, I will say, exaggerate an issue too. So like if like I've played people when I was traveling the tournaments. We're talking about Exert too. They're like, Faust is cheap. Faust is this, da 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 da. Then I'll sit down and be like, yeah, like kind of like what you did with Eno. Like, yeah, this right here, this is legitimately good. Like, this is what I get to do when I get my way. You don't get to just arbitrarily stop it. You have to go out of your way to stop it. But when you get me in this situation, I got to do this thing. I got to go out of my way to stop you, and yada yada, back and forth. And I try to make sure I keep it grounded, where I let you know, like, this is legit. This part is legitimately good, but here are the weaknesses, and the weaknesses aren't always I guess in your favor to exploit, but they're there, and you got to be. I guess I try to be as reasonable as I can. That's all I can say.
Yeah. And it's honestly sometimes it gets kind of like I don't want to say it can get hard because you'll see like a top player, like say for instance Bardock in Dragon Ball Fighters. People know why he's powerful. Most people do. Even people who don't play the game know why he's powerful. It's because like he has Lariat, which is a pretty strong move, and his conversions are pretty easy. And people will pretty much joke about that. But then you'll have people who are getting to the game, and then it's like, wait, he doesn't seem as easy as I thought. It's like, well, he just has like a key blast and neutral and Lariat, and that's it. It's like, yeah. So it can become very it can be kind of hard to like to actually hit that point across when you have like characters so homogenized like that sometimes because the character is so straightforward already. But then once you add the competition into it, like the other player who's forcing you to do things differently, they're not gonna sit down and take the same move all day. That's when it's like, whoa, okay, it's not what everybody says it is. So
Yeah, that's always the funny thing. I see this a lot because you brought this up. Because my thing is like understanding is always in flux. Like the way when you first pick up a game versus when you're sitting, I guess top eight at a big tournament is going to be very different, and it changes a lot along the way. So a lot of people they use their personal experience to really
yeah,
and you have to a degree, right? To really dictate what the whole game is, but you also have to take in other people's experience, the actual objective data the game's giving you, whether it's frames, hitboxes, whatever. You got to mush it all together. But a lot of people are very heavy towards their own experience, and so like they'll go and they'll play somebody, like you said, they'll play Bardock and they'll start layering like a madman. And let's say there's a class of people they just beat, and they go, "Yeah, I see why this is strong." And then, like you said, they run into that person's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna let this Bardock beat me up like this." They gotta actually be good at Bardock.
yeah,
And then once they have, oh man, this character ain't really that great, like you said. And I see that a lot where people will just like they'll use their own direct experience to be like, I can't beat this. I don't know how to deal with this. This isn't as good as people say it is, or vice versa, right? When there's a
Yep.
gimmick that's not really good, but they don't know how to beat it, and they get swept around in it. Oh man, well I don't know why people call this character weak. You know, this is ridiculous. I go on there and this character just does this and I can't do anything about it. It's just always funny to me.
Yo, I can't tell you how many times I'll fight against players who knows how to deal with stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's how you deal with it. It's like, ooh, because the different experience with players. It's just like you said, ours. Yeah, it has that with their life. It parallels with their life to the game. Sometimes they like to do that, so it's very all interesting things.
Yeah,
But
it's for sure.
yeah. but yeah. So like now that we don't have one thing. Another thing I want to talk about is how I haven't been watching too much fighting game streams lately because I guess no live tournaments have been going on,
Yeah,
and I legit like if I can't go to a live tournament, I'll rather like watching live tournaments, and it's it feels really weird that I don't have a live tournament to watch because that commentary is a huge thing for me. It's like that in-person commentary is just a huge thing, and it just and the crowd behind the commentary or like we're near in the same room with commentary is just there's that energy that's different, right?
yeah,
Because I was listening to some comics talking, they were saying how like some comics are they're starting to do streaming uh, stand up, and it's very weird and hard for them. And it's like that's understandable because the energy is not there in the room. So
yeah. That's kind of how I feel like outside of the whole rollback versus delay. Like put that aside, I feel the same way about just playing somebody. Like it feels much better when I'm just like right next to them. I don't know why. I can't explain it. When I hear them breathing, where I can see when they're excited, when I can see when they're frustrated, and I can like pick up on their state and see how they're the word energy you keep using is like to me that's far different than just playing someone online, even with a good connection. So it's like just knowing that you're playing versus another actual human being, you can see them, know they're there. It makes me feel a lot better, and maybe that's a placebo, but that's all how I feel. And even watching tournaments, I get to feel the same way. It's like online tournaments are not all bad, especially when they got the decent netcode and all. But even then, it's like you see the names on the screen, and you know that ultimately they're not playing the same game. It's one that's not guaranteed consistency.
yep.
And so it's like I can't really get into it. Like I support all the local stuff, I've watched some stuff, but yeah, I can't. I don't have anything to like really look forward to like I used to.
Yeah, I miss when you the frustration on people's faces sometimes because they can't leave when they once you there's no rage quit. I mean, people can't rage quit offline, right? But it's like it's very rare that people would do that. It's like they'll keep playing the matches. If anything, they'll like hit rematch or whatever.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, if you do it, it's there for you to
you get
see,
this.
right?
Yeah, you get to see their faces if they do something wild. You just look straight at them. Yeah, you know, and they know that you know. It's that's the energy I miss. But yeah, it's hopefully I don't know how long this will take, but I'm gonna still try to get into watching some tournament streams. I've been missing them lately because of Final Fantasy VII, but I'm gonna start getting into them.
That's what's up.
I
So,
know Painbot has been consistently running his tournament streams with or his sessions with Samurai Showdown.
so yeah, he's doing Samurai Showdown and Grand Blue, and they basically turned into round robin tournaments. He puts up the Maturino and all that stuff, and so that's something he's been trying to like. As much as he'll cry about online play, he wants to keep everybody together. So you're seeing a lot of that effort. Like FGC Fight Club is doing that, and NLBC, and you seeing that everywhere. People are like,
GBP, yeah.
yeah, like I got to keep my scene together. I got to keep them playing. So that when it all
I'm
comes back, go ahead.
you can go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say when it all comes back, there'll still be like a scene around.
Yeah, the last Grand Blue 3v3 tournament was that was really hype. And I hope to see just not just America, but more international countries do that. The
Yes,
whole tournament or 3v3 or whatever format they do online.
if you think about it in a weird way, it's in itself it's a good opportunity to showcase a lot of scenes that will never get showcased, right? Because
Hmm.
even when all this stuff was going on, most people weren't really throwing online tournaments. If they were people, they were afterthoughts. Now they're the only thing that's happening, so you have an opportunity to set yourself apart and to give your scene an identity. So I see the DMV guys, they're doing their Samsung tournament like right now. So they've been like doing it the region and lock it, and then you get to see those same players week after week. And so like when you see stuff like that, like maybe the French tournament might start up, or someplace in Africa, or whatever. So like now's the time to really establish an identity of what your scene is and who they are that you didn't really have before.
Yeah. Tina, time to stand up.
Oh man, the
Or
classic.
sit down, I guess, in this case. Man, speak kind of like a little bit off topic of fighting games. Uh, I was looking on Instagram and I didn't know Stone Mountain was still open.
I did not know that either. I just found out today, right now.
I was like, I could be wrong, but I saw pictures of people at Stone Mountain. I was like, wait, what?
Well,
What the hell?
I think Georgia is not under complete lockdown, right? It's kind of
Right.
suggested. So like, there's no official government thing saying you can't be open. Most people are just going by like what their mayor is saying, and I think a lot of stuff is probably just still open anyway.
Yeah.
Depending on the owner's discretion, it's just is our customers gonna walk through my door? So if they're not, then I'm not gonna pay this power bill and all these other bills to keep it running.
Yeah. So today I think we get the Faust introduction, because lately they've been doing Guilty Gear Strive introduction for each character before we get the beta release, which comes out in the next couple of hours.
Yeah, it's like
Um,
almost here.
what things are you liking so far about like the updates or anything that they've shown, and what things that still kind of like got you scratching your head or kind of like they should change or something like?
I got to keep it 100 with the Casey. I have not been following Strive at all, so
Oh,
so I've seen that they put those trailers up, and I've seen like a few Twitter clips, but like I'm not actively watching any of the videos, and I'm not in the beta. Like someone offered me a code, I'm like, nah, I don't think I'll play, and I don't have anything against the game. It's just not interesting to me right now. But what are your thoughts on it now that you've seen it?
so from the beginning of Strive, I've always been optimistic about the game, and that seemed like it's getting better and better the more I see it, which is like really good. You know, seems the HUD they changed a little bit. One thing that they still haven't changed was the risk in the character portrait still moving with the health bars. Um, the hearts are there, but the way that they're placed and next to the timer or in this little artwork that they have, it works, so I can deal with that. The tension meter at the bottom is still it's still too transparent with the background,
Mm-hmm.
so it's makes it kind of hard to like see, or it blends in too much, whatever. So they could like work on that, but everybody knows like they were going to work on the UI from day one, so that's not too big of a problem.
I think
Gameplay wise, it looks promising. It looks like to me what they're going for is a new experience of Guilty Gear. And to me, it looks like that. They have some new combos that obviously weren't in other Guilty Gear games, and I'm really liking it so far.
so you're gonna embrace the new changes and see what they what experience they bring, huh?
Yeah, because I think what happened with me personally and for Exar was I wanted it to play too much, like, or evolve into like AC or plus R eventually, which I think a lot of people thought it was gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when it didn't, I got kind of frustrated. So and then I was like, this game is trying to be like Reload, it's trying to be like oh Guilty Gear when it's not like at the same time it seems like it's trying to do something new, and which was cool. I didn't mind that, and I still think it's a pretty cool game. But in terms of like longevity, it didn't like really stick with me because of that. Uh, Whereas in I think for Strive, by being so different from like Exart and just XX series in general, I feel like what they're going for is once the game gets old, you can go back to it, and that feel would be like just it will be like rich.
Hmm.
So, and I feel like I'm slowly getting that feel with each trailer or each gameplay that I've seen. It's really cool.
Okay. So I guess like you just kind of saying like since XR like at a base was similar to the game that came before it, it's like well I guess maybe eventually it'll become that in some degree. It is.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was going to happen with XR.
And so Strive, you're looking at a different base entirely. Like it's a like you said a new experience. It's not well here's all the same stuff, all the same frame data, and then we're gonna tweak it some. Like the
Yeah, since I don't have nothing to like really look forward to, like in terms of like wanting it to be like old Guilty Gear, I'm open for what's new.
okay. That's always a weird thing. It's like whenever you get attached to a game in any franchise, it's always a danger what comes after it, especially in fighting games. Is it's like if you really love I'm just Tekken 5 DR right, like
Yeah,
the rest, anything that comes after it is not gonna be the same. It's you're always gonna see the differences, even if they're not very high or not a lot of differences. You're always gonna see them, and they're always gonna be right there for you to see because you know what you love about the previous entry. In the current entry, when it doesn't have those things, you're gonna see them all the time.
yeah. Um, for Faust, since I know you played Faust, he has a new version of Going My Way. So instead of animation being horizontal, the animation is vertical.
Hmm.
He's like an actual spinning top, and you can actually control him
Hmm.
in the air.
So you just
So
go
think
either
of it,
direction.
yeah. So think of it like Go Tanks and Dragon Ball Fighters
Hmm.
is EX Beyblade is exactly like that.
Ah, okay, okay. That was actually a pretty fun move to use.
Yeah, I think so. For like Strive so far, his movement is looking really good because he can go pretty high in the air.
Hmm.
So that right there was very interesting to me because Faust didn't have. I wouldn't say he had the worst movement. He had a very unorthodox way of moving on the screen.
Yeah.
So this is unorthodox. It's unorthodox, but it seems like it's much more. It makes him more tricky for his movement.
Okay.
Whereas like back then, his movement was a little bit more predictable because how slow he was.
Yeah, he
So
had to swim through the air. But you also didn't want him like super jumping out of the corner and then actually air dashing after he just bullied you and missed green for 30
yeah,
seconds. So like yeah, you had to put him right back in there. So that's interesting that they're changing some of those aspects of him.
yeah. The only time I've ever seen like a Faust actually like air dash in the air was for mix-ups.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was pretty interesting. He has a few new items too. Like he has a trumpet, I think, that like when it lands on the ground and he picks it up, a bunch of little mini I don't want to call them Fausts, the mini dolls
Mhm.
that like the doll you saw in the first trailer, they start running towards you. Kind of like a maze a old destruction finish or insta kill where a bunch of little minions just start running towards you, and I don't know how well this tracks, but it seems like if the opponent jumps, one of them like jumps in the air to like keep you grounded.
Okay, that does sound pretty interesting. So
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
let me ask you this: what do you think of the defensive mechanics so far that you've seen?
So it seems to me, so I want to say for the okay first. Knockdown doesn't seem like it's going to be as consistent so far from what I've seen. It doesn't seem like a rinse repeat knockdown from past Guilty Gear games. And I know a lot of people were very upset about that at first. Over the past couple months, they've been showing more and more that you can have ways to mix up. And and it's not just by knockdowns too. It's just I guess they're trying to force different ways on how to approach on offense. Um, to kind of not make the game stale. So that's what it seems. I generally got that too from watching the introduction on how they say this character offense works like this, and it also works like this instead of just knock down, run it, homie.
Okay.
So for defense, I think that's gonna help out the defensive aspect of the game. Because if I remember correctly, there's different tech timings. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I've heard from people. Um, and stuff like the wall breaks, they made it harder to wall break, but the fact that it exists means that it resets to like neutral somewhat. Like you're obviously not in the corner no more, so that's a huge thing. It's like DBFZ. Um, if a character dies, they're not incoming like Marvel. Like they actually get to start off away from the opponent, so they're not having to take Oki right away. So that's another form of like a defensive mechanic that I kind of like. I that they implemented that kind of is I want to say it's not passive, and I think that's what people are looking for, that passive defensive mechanic. And for FDs, it's still the same FD, but you don't really need to use it in the air, which is still weird. Don't know how that's gonna work yet, but judging from how the game is going, seems like they know what they're going to do with it. Not sure. IBs, instant block, it doesn't make you doesn't
Remove the blocks then.
remove the block stun and having to deal with like less frames. So they took that factor out. So passive defense, which is something that made Guilty Gear very unique and special, that charm is not there for people. So I understand that that's like the hugest gripe for Guilty Gear. But the fact that the offense doesn't seem as oppressive so far, with the whole Gatling system not being so approachable at like how like it was at the beginning. You could
Yeah.
just like mash this button and mash the next button, and your strings end quickly. So it seems like the game is already being that FD instant block for you, and that's a good and a bad thing for people. It's good for newer players because they don't have to learn the nuances of like FD and instant block.
Mhm.
But from vets and people who've like played Guilty Gear before, it they don't agree with that because it doesn't give them that same charm, and it doesn't it's that factor of like getting out because you block correctly is gone in that
Yeah.
aspect.
Okay.
So yeah.
So it's like they kind of toned it down on both ends because, like, yeah, in the previous entries, it's like you really got to be pretty intimate of your opponent's block strings and how they branch out. But in like the other side of that is like, yeah, your FD pushed them out pretty far. IB could get you punishes where they would usually get pressure. So it's like, yeah, I see. And they just like, I guess they just balance the scales on both end on that, from what I can hear, what I'm getting from you.
Yeah, it's so it seems like we're slowly starting to understand all a bit, which is obviously going to like quicker. Obviously going to happen for any game, right? We always figure out the offense way quicker than the defense.
Yeah, we want to hurt somebody, man.
So yeah, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in the next couple hours, actually, or maybe tomorrow, because that's when we have the maintenance change for player to player, like for multiplayer to happen. So I think tomorrow you're going to start to see you're going to get a better idea of how defense works in Strive.
Okay, because it's like it's just the versus CPU tonight, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I imagine tonight we're just gonna get to all the fancy combo videos.
Yeah, I actually saw a tweet today saying somebody's going to pick together a video. If you just send them something, uh, just like something hype or whatever, they'll put together a video for Strive.
Okay.
So we're going to see all the cool combos and all the cool setups tonight, and people are going to be like, "What? This game's defense sucks."
Hey man, if you don't see it, it doesn't exist, right?
Yep.
Yeah, actually, speaking of Strive, and people are always going on about, how you potentially alienating it is to, the people who came from older games, but nobody really talks about the fact that they don't matter to the degree where you're always going to get a whole bunch of people who never played the previous entry come in, and they're going to end up being a huge chunk of your core, because that's what happens with Zerd, right? I've never played Guilty Gear before Zerd, and so like I didn't have any attachments to what happened previously. None of it made me mad. Any of the changes, so it was all new to me. And there's gonna be a whole bunch of people who come in to Strive, and they're gonna be like, they're gonna look at the older games. It's like, what did they do to Faust? This ain't Faust. What did they do? Where's my trumpet? And it's gonna be weird. So that's actually what I'm interested in, because those are the people who I think will always bring in fresh ideas, especially the ones who work at it and learn the game without the
Yep.
context of other games. I always like value that.
Definitely. No, I'm 1,000% agree with that. Like, I've always loved watching how newer players approach newer games because, like you said, they bring a new ideas aspect to the game that you would never thought of before. And that's what I'm excited about the most is a new like Lost Soul, a new King God, a new Dual Kevin. It's just I'm super excited about. That's my favorite part of Strive, or the part I'm really anticipating the most about Strive. I seriously can't wait for that.
Yep, and it's like it may be like they're new to the genre, or it might be new to just the Guilty Gear after coming from like random game like Marvel Infinite or wherever, and it's like you just
Hmm.
never know where they come from. So that to me that's always exciting, like you said.
Yeah, and then like it's cool to see like the vets go in and do their stuff and find out their ideas and stuff, and that's always a cool and beautiful thing. But man, I love it when I see a new guy versus a vet. They tear him up because they just have some new. They bring new stuff to the table, man. It's so cool.
Indeed, indeed. Like
Yeah.
it's just, and it's like in general too. These games get dissected so fast. Like if there's a glitch, if there's like optimal combos, it won't take more. I won't say optimal, but like really good, close to what could possibly be optimal. Like they're obviously pushing the letter. And that stuff like it don't take more than like 1 or 2 weeks these days.
Yep. So yeah, we're about to see a lot within the next couple of days for Get to Your Stride with the demo coming out or beta.
Yeah, a lot of people been
So
joining the Faust Discord. I've never played Guilty Gear before. I just bought Zerd because it's always on sale for like $6 or whatever. And so it's like it's gonna be interesting because I'm pretty sure they bought it because they're anticipating Strive itself, and so they're trying to
yeah.
get into the game. Like who knows how much it'll help, but I think just playing anything and getting involved and learning critical thinking skills will always help, in my opinion.
Yep. Likewise. I can't wait to see the newer people, Strive players, look at older Guilty Gear, and it's like you said, like whoa, like Faust could do that, Eno could do that, or like Soul could do that. That's wild.
So I
That's
actually heard, I was reading somewhere, I don't remember where, Soul does not have his dragon installed in the newest game. So like, just imagine that he goes like, look, let me look at Soul supers in like Zerd, and he turns into like this weird dragon man, and it's like
yeah.
that'll blow your mind.
Well, we don't know. So I have a theory about that. I
Like,
think the reason why we haven't seen Dragon install yet is because they're actually trying to balance poker becomes more viable for gameplay, for competitive play.
mm,
So that's just my theory. So I think that's why they're working on it, and they're trying to bring some like I said, the game is completely like it's a new approach to Guilty Gear. So you got to also have a new approach with Dragon Install, which is a really is an even harder feat itself.
Yeah. Well, they know they could have put something in there like he builds up the dragon install after
Yeah.
unlocking it somehow. But like, yeah, I'll probably pay a lot more attention to the game this weekend. Now I know people are gonna be playing it and looking at it, so I'll probably go and hit the trailers and catch up on some stuff and see what the system mechanics are. Even talking to you kind of got me interested in looking at some stuff. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. And one last thing I want to say about Strive, so the lobby system, it's the actual like April Fool's joke lobby. Some people were mad about that. I wasn't too mad about it because I was like, it's cool, it's whatever. But one thing that's really cool is the name of the names of the lobbies. They have like different floors for the lobbies, and they all have different names, and they're all inspired by metal albums.
Okay, that's actually pretty cool.
Yep.
I mean,
So one
hopefully,
name is like System of a Down, another name is the Fade to Black for Metallica, and like Rain and Blood for Slayer. It's so sick.
okay. Hopefully they get to keep that when it comes over to North America.
I'm pretty sure they will. I'm pretty sure they will.
Cause I don't know if you watch JoJo's at all, but like when they dubbed it and translated the manga and all, they had to change a
Mhm.
lot of those names because they were named after like rock bands and rock band albums and stuff. So they had to
Oh,
get changed because it was in like an official, I guess, a product.
yeah, you have a point.
So I don't know if
I
that'll
still,
happen.
I still don't understand how they got Jodeci for their in. That's pretty cool.
Hey,
When somebody when somebody told me that Jodeci was in the JoJo's ending, I was like, no, somebody. I saw a video in Discord and I clicked on it and I was hearing Jodeci. I was like, wait, is this like somebody just added the music on YouTube for like the Jodeci ending? And then somebody was like, no, that's the actual ending ending song for JoJo's. I was like, whoa.
a bunch of people probably never even heard of Jodeci. got to get lyrically seduced.
Yeah.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, that's pretty much all I got today.
Yeah, I don't really have much. We hit some big topics, It wasn't lengthy, but I think we got some good meat in there.
Yeah. Well, we have like less than an hour for the beta starting, the offline portion. So
So, yeah, yeah.
excited. Did you get a code?
I did not. Someone offered me a code, but I declined because I wasn't planning on playing it, and so I'd rather it go to somebody who intended to play.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I'll probably be on the lookout for especially people who I know, my friends and stuff playing it. So if you're streaming, I'll probably be in there. If do you have a code?
I might stream. It's on PS4. We'll see. Can you guess what character I'm gonna play though?
I can actually.
And I might play this character on launch. Potemkin.
Okay. Okay.
I know that's the least expected for me, but lately I've just been liking grapplers a little bit more. So
You sound like Fame over here, going on a journey of every character archetype in the world.
yeah, and he has some pretty cool combos in Strive, so that got me hyped for him. So definitely gonna check him out.
All right,
Yeah,
man.
that's it.
All right, I got nothing else to say. So, thank you. Hopefully you didn't forget about us in the week we were gone. But appreciate anyone who tunes in, watch. I've been getting a couple of subscribers and followers here and there, so I appreciate that. And keep tuning in.
Yeah, thank you everybody for watching. I really appreciate it during these hard times, or watching, listening. Really appreciate it during these hard times. Take your time, just a couple, 40. I don't know how long this episode will be, but like just checking us out. Small things, matter.
Yeah. We're literally rolling on 45 minutes right now. So it's like right under an hour, but not too short. It's like nice and sweet. So yep. So I will say peace.
Peace.